Well, hi there, it's Mark Barrett. Hey, thanks for taking the time to take a look at my video here. I've had the good fortune to be involved in the network marketing industry for over 22 years, and I've also had the good fortune to be a seven-figure earner within that industry. Today, I want to talk to you about something that dramatically changed my business, about a year ago. I had the opportunity to take a look at a body of material that outlined and talked about attraction marketing. It was actually called magnetic sponsoring. And I want to do a little bit of a review today, but to basically tell you how I made the decision to change my business model and change totally how I did business in the world of network marketing, I got to back up and tell you a little bit of a story. So the story is, several months ago, it was out of pure frustration, a little bit on a whim, I took the red pill. And I went down the rabbit hole and I followed it to a seemingly almost parallel universe of network marketing. Got you intrigued, don't I? Let me back up and explain. There was this movie called The Matrix. I'm sure you've probably seen it. And there was this scene in the movie where one of the characters, Morpheus, offered another one of the characters, Neo, the choice of two pills. In one hand, he held a blue pill, right? And he told Neo that he could take it, and if he took the blue pill, his life would go on the same as it always had been, and nothing would have changed. Now, on the other hand, he held a red one. And he told him if he chose that one, that the illusion of the world would be ripped away, and nothing would ever be the same again. Now, he told him, I promise only one thing, and that is to tell you the truth. Now, that's kind of like what happened to me almost a year ago. I'd made the commitment to build a new network marketing company, and I was struggling to find a good high-volume lead generation strategy, and I was encountering lots of frustration. As you know, if you're in the industry, this can be very frustrating. Marketing changes from year to year, and we just have to reinvent ourselves all the time. So I kept retooling and trying to adapt older approaches that had worked for me in the past and trying to find that unique market or magic in the marketplace that would allow me to get back to a really high-volume lead approach again. Now, I've always been a believer in high-volume lead generation approaches. I believe that they're absolutely the best way to build your network marketing business. Most of the huge organizations that I have personally built and profited from were generated from cold leads, not by doing friends and family. So that insight, of course, didn't come right away. When I first entered the network marketing business, even though I had been a real successful business person before in the real estate and financial markets, I had no clue on how to make network marketing work. And I have to say, I'm embarrassed to say, I failed miserably for several months. And I probably quit 5 times just in the first 6 months, right? You know how it is. I got so sick of chasing my warm market around only to hear, I haven't decided yet, Mark, and I'm still looking at several options, Mark, and follow up with me next week, Mark. It drove me nuts. Now, I could see that to be successful in network marketing, you needed to be able to develop a really large group, but using the approaches I was using, I could see it wasn't going to work, or it was going to take at least 100 years. I knew there had to be a better way. Then the light went on one day, probably after my 50th person said no. I could see the problem was I was selling the opportunity to a bunch of lukewarm prospects who weren't really interested. What I needed to do was start marketing to a much larger audience who were actually looking for what I had to offer. What a unique concept, right? I quickly developed an advertising approach. I scaled it up until I was getting 60 to 100 leads a week. Now, when you achieve that kind of volume, you're suddenly swimming in prospects, and it becomes impossible to be able to follow up and do the normal sales routine of prospect, present, follow up until they buy or die. That's what they teach you in traditional sales. So the normal chasing of prospects that we're all taught to do in sales abruptly stopped. Boom, just like that. So I was doing group presentations for my prospects, and I sent them out the door and told them they would have to get back to me in 48 hours. And if they didn't, or if they wanted to be on my team, they'd get back to me in 48 hours. And if I didn't, I was going to cross them off the list. Now, believe it or not, I never followed up on anybody. Now, did that strategy work? Well, within 2 years, I was one of the top producers in that company, and I'd sponsored 250 dead serious people into the business, and I was making pretty close to $1 million a year. So why did it work, though? Well, the prospects were attracted to me because they saw I had a system that worked. But they also saw that they needed what I had more than I needed them. In short, they were attracted to me. Now, the problem I faced a year ago was that the marketing universe, as I said, changes year by year. And what worked yesterday may not work today, so although some of the basic marketing systems I developed still worked pretty well, there was still something missing. So it was kind of like, I sensed that it was something that was almost there. It's kind of like when you wake up from a dream and you solved this huge problem only to have it totally disappear in those first moments you're awake, right? You had the solution, you could feel it, but all of a sudden it was gone. You just, after that, you couldn't put your finger on it anymore. So that's where I was. So, and that's exactly where I was when this guy by the name of Joe stopped by my office, my home office one day in Miami. He had a copy of Magnetic Sponsoring written by a guy by the name of Mike Dillard. Now, Joe's a successful business guy, right? He was in my downline, and he sat down in a chair, dropped this 80-page printed out ebook in front of me and told me I needed to read it because he was going to do exactly what the book said. Well, of course, that's the ultimate challenge. A rebellious downline veering off on some tangent you know nothing about, so I knew I had to read it just so I could assure him it was total garbage and stick to the basics, right? So I had seen references about magnetic sponsoring over the last few years on the internet, but I don't know, just the phraseology or the way he titled it, it sounded kind of stupid, right? Let's see. We read this book and all of a sudden people start chasing us down the street, begging us to sponsor them, right? Right. Well, I took the book, started reading it, and never realizing I had taken Neo's Fated Red Pill. And I tell you what, my journey down the rabbit hole began. And I think I read the entire thing in one sitting as paragraph after paragraph after paragraph kept kind of rolling off. All I could do was kind of smile and shake my head because it was so right on target, it was scary. And then the aha moment started. Don't you hate it when those come? And I swear, they didn't stop until I got to the end of the book. And then I had to think about it for a day or two after I put it down. Now, magnetic sponsoring is not a training course, but it's kind of a philosophy and a marketing strategy that this guy Mike Dillard, professed would change the way you do business forever. I mean, it outlined the principles of an attraction marketing model, which is a sales approach that's really so subtle and powerful, most people don't realize they're even affected by it. It also outlined a high-volume lead generation approach that used the internet to generate leads for your network marketing business that I could see would far surpass anything that I'd been able to do in the past with newspaper advertising. Now, it also outlined the principle of using what's called a funded proposal marketing approach, which allows you to generate huge traffic off the internet and being able to make money off that traffic even if they don't join your network marketing opportunity. Yeah, you heard me right. Even if they don't join you. That's kind of crazy, huh? Now, believe it or not, this strategy changes the process of lead generation from an out-of-pocket experience that you're normally used to when you pay for advertising and you're hoping for a return, actually into a cash flow business where you generate thousands of dollars in income while you generate thousands of leads. Well, I have to tell you, I went down that rabbit hole pretty far, and it did change the way I do business dramatically. Totally. And if you haven't looked at this remarkable ebook, check it out. Now, I warn you, the book's going to challenge you, and it will change many of the ways you currently look at doing your business. And, of course, it's easier not to change. Stay the same. But something in us is just so curious, right? Well, hopefully I've aroused your curiosity. And if you're wondering, Neo, of course, also took the red pill. Now, for more information on the magnetic sponsoring course or on the attraction marketing model, or to see the complete review I did on my blog, go to my blog, which is www.askmarkbarrett.com. Once again, that's www.askmarkbarrett.com. And once again, thanks for taking the opportunity to look at my video today, and hopefully you've enjoyed the material. And if you did, well, then share the love. Tweet this on to somebody, tweet it on to your followers, share it on your blog, do some trackbacks. Anyway, thanks.